We're back in the Spineless Multi-Club universe where my energy drink, Spineless Energy, are rivaling Red Bull to try and create a multi-club network that takes over football. We currently have 4 clubs in our network and we've been pretty successful so far. But the aim has sort of informally become, at least for me, to try and get all 4 teams into the last 4 of the Champions League. That for me would be total domination and we're going to have another crack at it in today's video. So come on. All right, then, welcome back to the Spineless Multi-Club save then. Let's start with a bit of a recap from last time where we had 4 teams in our network. We have Wolves, we have Wolves. Well, let's go in the list here. We have Wolfsburger in Austria / Switzerland. It's the Alpenliga combined. We have Wolfsburg in Germany. We have Wolves in the Premier League. And then Spineless Sporting were our newest recruit in Portugal. We had a season with each of these 4 teams. Wolves, they finished second in the league. They have previously won the Premier League. If I go to the profile here, season before this, they did win the league. This year, they finished second to City. City had a really good season, 91 points. They were a difficult proposition. Erling Haaland scored 29 goals. Look, Krupi, though, and Sesko both chipping in with good goals. We've got a really strong team here at Wolves. We'll go through it in more detail because we're going to go through all the transfer business. And it's actually been a really busy window. So there's going to be a lot of transfer updates. Then we're going to go with, I'll show you what's happened with the season. And actually, I've not finished this season yet. It's 2028-29 is the season because we're going to finish it together. There's some games left over because I'm hoping it's going to be an exciting end. Anyway, Wolves have this team here just to show you a lot of the players are wanted, which is sort of why it ends up being a really busy summer, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's go through our other 4 teams. Wolfsburger in the Alpenliga. They did win the league. They always win the league. The Alpenliga only really started at the start of this save, and Spineless Wolfsburger have won it every year. They were ahead of schedule, really, when they won it in the first season, but we're now, what, we're 5 seasons complete. Are we 6 seasons or 5? No, we're 5 seasons complete. This one does count on here, doesn't it? And they've won it every season. They got 90 points, only 4 points in the end, but because it was actually a good season from Wolfsburg, look, who have actually had further investment in them and have spent quite a bit of money. If I go to their transfer history, look, they spent £306 million last summer, including buying a few of our players. Marcus Edwards, Caicedo has ended up going there, look, in the January, but they still weren't able to beat us in the league. That shows maybe just the level of Spineless Wolfsburger. They are a good team. I'll show you the squad actually really quickly as we did with Wolves. These are the lads here at Wolfsburger. You've got a great goal scorer in Majic, who I call Majic. I know it's probably not how you say his name. Majic. I call him Majic. I'm assuming it's a Montenegrin name, or it could be maybe Bosnian or Serbian or one of these ones here. Damir Majic, if anyone knows how to say that properly in the comments down below, give me your best shot rather than just, you know, trolling me for not being able to talk properly when it is literally my job. Anyway, this was the Wolfsburger team. They did win the league. On to Wolfsburg next. They also did win their league. It's their 3rd. See, I think this one isn't there. Yeah, okay, it hasn't counted it yet. It's their 3rd consecutive title, Bundesliga title. They won it in 25-26. They won it in 26-27. They've just won it now. I don't think that's updated yet because the playoffs have only just been played. So this will get added to the list over here, look. But a great season from them, 86 points, 8 points clear of Bayern Munich. In second, of course, Bayern are our closest rivals, you would imagine. Leipzig also did have further investment. A development in the save was that the Red Bull Group also, in response to the Spineless Multi-Club invasion, if you want to call it that, were granted even more money. Did Leipzig spend? They spent 114 million, but also sold a lot of players, including 65 million we gave them for Dominic Buchler. So, and also Claycedo we bought as well for 48 million. So we gave them most of that money, maybe, but they then did spend it on a few players. They bought Jalrego from us. So not quite as much spending as Wolfsburg, who are crazy spenders. And maybe that's why they finished down in 5th place here. Christian Gruber, our new gen from Austria, who had a great couple of seasons at Wolfsburger, look, on loan, has come back to the Bundesliga now and kind of lit it up, really. 23 goals in 30 games. He's still only 19. He's 6'6". He's a wonder kid. He might be one of my favourite wonder kids in a long, long time because he's very me, isn't it? Look how quick he is as well at 6'6". What a player. I'm really hoping that he can become a bit of a world beater, even though it says he's kind of reached his potential here. But maybe, hopefully, because he's only 19, he's still got a bit of room to grow as well. And he's already brilliant, so maybe he doesn't even need to. Christian Gruber was top goal scorer in the league, though. And that takes us to our 4th and final team in our network, which is Spineless Sporting, who had a great season. Remember, this is our first season with them. They finished second, a point behind Porto. If you remember at the end of last video, they were pushing them all the way to the last game of the season. Porto almost slipped up, but not quite. They won it by a point. The best thing about this, though, is that Sporting are in the Champions League. And that means all 4 of our teams are a Champions League team for this coming season. The season that we're going to show and go through in today's video. Remember what we kind of talked about last video? It's that I'd love it if we could get all 4 teams to be the last 4 in the Champions League. That for me is then when we've maybe finished the save, completed the save, if you like, because that is total domination. It's not going to be easy, especially when you consider that Sporting haven't won the league now in 4 seasons now, because the most recent one's not on here. So they haven't won the league in 4 seasons, and they last won the league in 23-24. Look, they finished 3rd, they finished 5th, they finished 3rd, and then now they finished 2nd. So they're not winning their own league, let alone get into the final 4 of the Champions League. We need to do continue to do big building with them. Their star men, Roberto Ferrari, the striker, Caicedo scored another 17 goals. Wasn't even always a starter, this man. He doesn't look, to me, that good, but he is just a goal scorer in game. It's probably just because he's massive, which is a thing, isn't it, in Football Manager? He's 6'6", which is why I love Christian Gruber, the player we looked at before, so much. Because even if he doesn't start here, Caicedo, 25 starts, 17 goals, he's a goal scorer. I think we need to try and make that loan from Wolfsburger permanent here at Sporting, because he feels like he's kind of found his feet a little bit, and we can actually make him a starting player here and build around him a little bit, I think, because he does score goals, doesn't he? That, though, is kind of the update. We've had a little look at all of the squads. This is the Sporting squad. What we're going to do now is go through what was a bit of a madness of a summer transfer window. This took me a whole day of playing through it because I had the spreadsheets open and all sorts, trying to coordinate which players were at which club. It gets crazy when you have 4 teams to do this with. Kudos to you guys that do multi-club saves with 4 teams or even more teams, because it's a logistical nightmare, but it's weirdly so much fun. I think it appeals to the weird pain for pleasure thing that Football Manager playing sort of is, because yeah, it's spreadsheets on spreadsheets, and I've been doing a spreadsheet outside of the game to try and manage it all, and basically this is what happened. Okay, so let's start with Sporting as the team that are sort of at the bottom of the hierarchy, if you like. The team that we need to improve maybe the most to get them up to the standard of maybe Wolfsburger as the 3rd best team in our multi-club network. It's probably the way that I see it. I see Wolves and Wolfsburg at the top. They are the 2 teams that have got to Champions League finals. Wolfsburger have never got really anywhere near, and Spineless Sporting, it's the first time we've got them into the Champions League. This is their summer business, and as you can see, it's £60 million spent, but we've sold players for £75 million. It's a bit of a theme for this summer. There's been a lot of outgoings, and I've tried to keep an element of realism in a save where I'm managing 4 teams and there's a made-up energy drink company financing all of this. It's, you know, it's not quite realistic, but at the same time, I've tried to have the mindset of, like, if there's a player that is playing for maybe Sporting, but a big team comes along and it's good money, not holding them back, because I think realistically a club in this situation would have to sell in this situation and then maybe reinvest that money to try and build the team up a little bit. And perhaps the best example for Sporting is the sale of Tayfun Demiral. Now, you remember we had him last season. He had an okay first season. We kind of turned him into a right winger, cutting in on his left foot. He's a wonder kid. He's 19 years old. And we sold him to Chelsea. We bought him for £25.5 million. He played 25 games, scored 7 goals, and got 11 assists. A really good average rating, actually, but maybe not quite prolific, which is another reason maybe why we've said yes to selling him. He actually started this season. We're on the 6th of September, so the transfer window has officially closed for all 4 of our teams now, which is why I'm bringing you the update now. He's actually gone to Chelsea, look, and already scored 2 goals in his first 3 games, which is maybe worrying. It is £39 million. I believe there is some add-ons, but they're not guaranteed ones there if he plays a certain number of games and things. But I thought, basically for the money and the fact that he'd probably want to go and play for Chelsea. Chelsea have thrown their weight around this summer. I've decided to let him go there. I'll just show you other sales or other purchases for Chelsea. Look, they've signed Demiral from us. They also signed Fabian Belalcazar, who was a youngster at Wolfsburg, for about £30 million. So 2 of our players going there, look, as well as a player from Corinthians, who are unofficially / officially another team in our network. We're not going to manage them in the save, but they are actually affiliated with our 4 teams here, so that we are able to send players on loan there, and we are able to have first option on buying players from there as well. So not necessarily one of our 4 teams, but we are branching out even further with Corinthians. That's actually been in play for a little bit now, but that is something we're doing too. A lot of you were asking for overseas, extra different continents, bringing other teams in from around the world. We have done that with Corinthians. We may do that with other teams eventually down the line as well. The one thing that kind of holds you back on that is that I don't want to have to load in too many more leagues, because this far into the future now, with that many leagues loaded, especially leagues in other regions, means that the player numbers that I'm loading are going to become quite big. And even though my PC probably can handle it, it becomes much slower, especially when simulating and things. So there are sort of practical restrictions, but I do get it. And I do think branching out all over the world is probably something that, well, it's something that Red Bull have done. It is probably something that Spineless Energy would want to do, isn't it? So bear that in mind. Anyway, back to transfers. With the sale of Demiral, we also sold Gabri Martinez for £14 million and Rodrigo Ribeiro for £11 million. We did get a decent amount of money in. Marmouche also moved on. He wasn't happy with the game time. He's also now, how old is he? He's 30 years old. I mean, he's ancient. He's 30 years old. Galatasaray came knocking. Turkish football, and he wanted the move. So I kind of decided to let him go based on that, and then try to replace him in the window. And this is what I've done to replace those players. This is what I've done to try and improve the team. We have made a fair few signings, lots of signings from our teams. We've signed 2 from Wolfsburger, 3 from Wolfsburg, and 2 from Wolves. Some of them loans, a lot of them permanent as well. Let's start with the players that have gone between clubs. Yasin Ozcan has signed permanently. He was here last year on loan, so we signed him for £5 million. Jonah Kusiaser, somebody that I mentioned before, we have signed him permanently for £10 million. He scored all those goals last year, so I think it makes sense to have him here. Noah Darvic is on loan again. He was on loan last year. Lamidi Toure was on loan last year, and we've got him again on loan. And this year, Damian Majic, you still have to help me how to say that name. He was on loan at Wolfsburger last season. This year, I've brought him to Sporting, because Sporting are now in the Champions League. It suddenly opens up the window of opportunity to bring in players that weren't interested before. Now they are interested. Damian Majic is one of those. Very excited to see how he does in Portugal. He got these 17 league goals in the Alpenliga last year. Can he translate it to Portugal? I think it's a really good option in our attack, and certainly does strengthen us for this season, I think. I then also signed Ryan Flamingo from Wolves, who wasn't really getting a game at Wolves, but actually could be really good cover here at Sporting. And Joe Bellingham has signed permanently. He was on loan here for half of the season. I think he joined in January on loan, and now he's signed permanently. So those are the movements, or the players that have signed between clubs. Let's have a look at the players that I've signed now that weren't already here. And we start with a backup goalkeeper called Lucas Astudio. Now, he's a backup because £5 million. It's probably too much. Zion Suzuki was on loan last season. He got recalled, and now he doesn't want to come back. So I've gone for a 19-year-old Argentinian under-20 international who looks like he could end up being really good. It felt like a good way to bring him into the network, where he's happy to be a breakthrough prospect. Maybe overpaid slightly at £5 million, but if he becomes a really good keeper, or to be honest, his value is already higher than that now, so it probably will end up being a bargain. Just felt a lot on a backup keeper when you could probably get somebody cheaper and maybe not as good. But welcome to Lucas. Then I've gone and signed a really good right back, I think, by the name of Julio Juarez, who is a wonder kid right back who I am really impressed with. He was playing in Mexico. He's played actually 80 games, look, for Pachuca, so he's bedded in as a footballer a little bit. He is listed as a wonder kid. He got my attention because loads of clubs were looking at him. We managed to sign him £7.5 million. I think this is going to be a bargain. He's got a bit, he can cross. He's a new gen fullback who can cross, which is probably because he can also play as a winger, which means that he's got great attributes for an attacking fullback. He's really good, and I'm really happy with that signing. Mexican international. And then this is one where I'm quite happy with, and I don't know how good he's going to end up being, but he's actually better than I've seen him in lots of different saves. We've loaned Esteval. Is he weird in your saves? Because he's always weird in my saves, because I think he's got a super high potential ability and a really low current ability at the start of saves. And then Chelsea, who own him, don't really know what to do with him, and he doesn't get into the team because of his current ability. And sometimes he can turn into a bit of a rubbish player, or he could develop and turn amazing. Like, he's been on loan at Oxford United in this save. Now we've loaned him. He's on 625 quid a week, but he's only got a year left on his deal. So I'm really hoping that we can sign him and then get him permanently. I think he looks really quite good, even though his reputation is really low. Look, it's a strange case of a footballer that he's a really weird footballer in the game. And I think we can kind of make hopefully make the most of it. Like, what is that career? £38 million to play no games, go on loan to Oxford, play one game. Well, this is then this season, and now we've already played him in one game. Can we rescue the career of Esteval, who's obviously a massive talent in real life, isn't he? I kind of hope we can. And that's what we're going to try and do with a loan. And then hopefully, I'm at least hoping that we get him permanently on a free transfer. What a signing that would end up being. But I also, who knows what's going to happen with that. I've also signed Malik Fofana for about £10 million, who is he's got good pace and can dribble. He's got a lot of other missing areas in his game, but I like signing these players that kind of break out in real life and are linked to proper big transfers, and then you sign them in your game and see how they do. We've signed loads of them like that. You'll see there's more of them that we do in this video as well. But Malik Fofana is going to be one of our options to play left wing. Him and Mateus França will rotate in that role there. And then final couple of players, I've signed Federico Redondo for £2.7 million. He's just fine. He was at Southampton. He's now 26, but we needed just an extra body in midfield, as well as down here, another right back, a backup right back, who I think is also hopefully going to be quite good, an Egyptian international, Omar Abdel Monsef, who signs from Wadi Degla, which is in Egypt. So he comes in, and I think that's everybody now for our signings. Those are the outgoings. This is what the Sporting team looks a bit like at the moment. We have Rest in goal. We have Flamingo currently playing right back because Juarez is injured, but he will become our right back. Lamidi Toure and Dean Howson as our centre backs. Howson's actually wanted, look, by a Chinese team and a Saudi team, I think, there. Alex Valler at left back. We've got Redondo in the midfield at the moment, but that will probably be Nkili once everybody is fit and ready to play. We've just played a game, which is why they're knackered, look. Then Esteval and Fofana as our wingers. And then we've got Majic, Kusiaser, and then also we've got Roberto Ferrari still at the club, who's currently injured, but he will be one of our... We've got 4 good strikers there, because Simoes is also pretty good as a striker option too. I'm feeling... Let me just get rid of these other teams in there. I'm feeling pretty good about the squad depth and the team that we've built here at Sporting. It remains to be seen how they actually go and do on the pitch, but I think there's a really good group of players there. We've started the season because it is the 6th of September here. We've started okay, look. We beat Celtic just about after losing the first game in the Champions League. We're in the 3rd qualifying round, look, of the Champions League. We had Celtic, which isn't that easy. We did beat them. We then had Salzburg, our Red Bull rivals, if you like, and we just about beat them on penalties to actually get to the Champions League. There was a chance, a very big chance actually as well, that we qualified for the Champions League and then weren't actually going to be in it with Sporting this year, but we have made it on penalties. In the league, we've done all right. We did lose the Super Touch, which I believe is the Super Cup, and we have just lost our first Champions League phase game against Monaco. This is the Champions League, look, with all 4 teams now in it. Sporting, Wolfsburg. Wolfsberger have won their first game. They beat Marseille, and Wolves won their first game. They beat Copenhagen 6-1. Wolfsburg drew their first game with Inter away from home. As a bit of an update there. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think we've predicted to finish 3rd in the league, which maybe tells you about the quality of the squad as a whole. Also maybe tells you about the quality of the Porto squad, really, more so than anything. They've got good players. Alexander Mitrovic was the top goal scorer in the league last year, which I think is quite a fun one at 34. But anyway, for that Sporting, we'll keep an eye on how they do, of course, this season. Let's move through to Wolfsburger. And this is the Wolfsburger transfer business this summer. Again, a bit of money spent, so actually £106 million spent, but also, notably, a few outgoings as well. Big money sales of Noah Mikic to Bayer Leverkusen. Didn't want to sell him. He's been extraordinary, by the way. Doesn't look like an amazing player, but look at his average ratings over his time at the club. Since we brought him in for Wolfsburg for £1.5 million from Dinamo Zagreb, 4 games only, but 7.5. Look, these average ratings, all of them above a 7, except for these 2 games before he went on loan to Sporting, when then he did have a proper season, over a 7 average rating. Just really weirdly effective as a right back. Try him in your save. I like finding these players. He reminds me a bit of Vinicius Tobias, and if you know me, you know how much I love Vinicius Tobias in Football Manager. Noah Mikic is a bit like that, actually. We also did sell Kusiaser and Ozcan, as you've seen, and allowed a few players to go on free transfers. That's all fine. The signings, though, are interesting ones. We signed Gianluca Prestiani, brilliant young player. We've signed him for £12.5 million from Benfica. He'll be one of our winger options. Echeverri, I always get these 2 mixed up. I always think one is the other, etc., because they're both young, and they're both Argentinian. I think they're both young Argentinian footballers that are like, one of them's at City, one of them's not, one of them, that I always think they're each other. So I signed both of them to try and avoid that. Maybe it makes it worse, the confusion. Either way, we've signed both of them. This one, Echeverri, cost a bit more money, £45 million to 54, but I do think he will end up being worth it. He's an Argentinian international, and to go and get him for Wolfsburger I think is actually a really big signing. Did he have a season here? Yeah, he was here on loan last season and we've signed him permanently. So I think that one is a good one. We've also loaned Vinicius Tobias again. He's been on loan for 2 seasons now, as well as being here at the start of the save too. He's my favourite right back in Football Manager. So we've got him back on loan again. And then I've also signed Mamadou Sarr from Strasbourg for £9.5 million as a rotation option in our defence. I really like the defenders here at Wolfsburg. We've got Lenny Yoro, Nathan Zezi, and now Mamadou Sarr, who are 3 really good, strong French centre-backs. France have so many good centre-backs, don't they? Mamadou Sarr is going to be one of the options. He's at Strasbourg, Chelsea in real life, isn't he? So we've brought him in. And then finally, I really like these 2 signings. This guy is going to be our N'Golo Kante. It's Yaya Diarra. He's actually 6'4", so maybe he's a bit bigger than N'Golo Kante. But I love this signing. Another Frenchman. He was at Marseille, hasn't played a game, but is now 19 and was in the under-21s team. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's a fantastic player for £12.5 million. Hasn't played any football. Again, I don't know why. Look how good he is. He's going to be like, it's a weird one. It reminds me a bit of Lenny, who the mods put into the save when we started it. Lenny Clayton is obviously my dog. You weren't expecting that in today's video, were you? But he's unbelievable. He's a really good footballer. Yet he's at Monaco and doesn't play. And I don't want to sign him because I think it might... I was going to say it might not be very realistic as I show you my dog in the game. But I don't want to sign him and then have my literal French bulldog playing right wing for us. But he's really good but doesn't play and nobody else has bought him. And it's a really curious, weird one. It's similar to Yaya Diarra, who looks really good but hasn't played. Either way, we're going to play him because he's really, really good. And then finally, I've signed Hugo Ekitike. Now, I'm a Liverpool fan. And yeah, I've been caught up in the Ekitike hype. He's actually good as well. And again, he was at Frankfurt and he's played 156 games for them, look. And he was available for £26 million. He's actually quite good in this save. A lot of saves you'll see where he doesn't develop again, a bit like Esteval. He looks pretty good to me. And him leading the line here for Wolfsburger. He's 27, so maybe a little bit older than what we usually go for. But I think it still kind of makes sense that he's in that group of players that are young and exciting in real life at the moment. So I think he fits, and he's come in for, as I say, £26.5 million. And it means that the Wolfsburger team looks a little bit like this. We've got Tomoc in goal continuing, Tobias, Yoro, Zezi, and then Soler as the left back. Another thing, I don't think that's shown on there, but no, he's there. Valentin Barco is actually wanted at the moment by a load of teams. I'm trying not to sell him, but if he gets a massive bid, we might need to see him go. But yeah, one to look out for there. Yaya Diarra and then probably Daniel Dagger when he's fit to start as our midfield too. Echeverri, Prestiani, of course, Mastantuono will probably come in as one of these and then swap them around like that. It's probably these 2 are the best 2 at the moment with Prestiani as the backup. And then Ekitike and Seto. And then what is going to happen in January is that we are going to loan in Iggy Dubs from Wolfsburg, our wonder kid striker that we've got at Wolfsburg, but he's not 18 yet, so we can't loan him. But he will be able to join on the 23rd of December. So he comes in as an extra striker. And in the meantime, we've got Mateta to be up the back, to be the backup striker, look, to rotate with these guys. I think Ekitike might end up scoring a lot of goals. He's got 4 in his first 6, look, and has actually already been a good signing. And I really like Caicedo. He's not amazing, but he's only 19 and he's a Japanese international and he's already scored for them. I quite like him. And he didn't cost us that much money, did he? £5 million. I think that's a fun sign. I'm going to keep playing him because I like him, even if he's not the best. Oh, he's got 3 goals in 5 games. So he's pretty good, isn't he? This is the Wolfsburger team. Let's keep it going. I told you there's a lot to catch you up on. I hope you like these videos. There is a lot of me showing you what's happened in the save, but there's 4 teams. There's 4 transfer windows to update you on. This is why it's so busy. So it might be quite a long video, but I hope you like that. So let's go on to the next team, which is, let's have a look at Wolves. And this is the Wolves business. Again, defined mainly by sales. We ended up selling a lot of players. Now with Wolves, remember, we also spent big money in January on Gavi. Look, we spent £136 million on Gavi in Jan, as well as Watio as a new striker who ended up scoring quite a lot of goals for us, and the left back Martins from Sporting. So January was a big window for us, which is why this window is maybe a little bit smaller. I mean, it's still £127 million spent, but we also sold players for £163 million. Biggest sale was Abakar Silla, who's gone to Salzburg. Salzburg, I showed you some of their signings or some of their spending earlier. One of them was Silla from us for 82, rising to £87 million. We also sold De Bast for £40 million, which is both of our centre-backs. So we had to go and sign centre-backs this summer, and that's where most of our money has gone. really. We also, just on the sales quickly, we sold Bellingham Flamingo, as I showed you. Ebasele went, as well as a few players leaving on loans and things down the bottom here, as you can see. Sahovic also went for big money. Sahovic, by the way, came through our youth intake a while ago, and we've managed to sell him for £17 million. He had a really good loan spell at Plymouth, look, scored loads of goals, and now a Premier League team, Bournemouth, have decided to buy him for £17 million. He must have actually had pretty good potential. He's turned into a good striker, but he's never going to get into one of our teams, is he? Even if he is good and young, but £17 million is actually good money for him, isn't it? Let's have a look at those centre-back signings then. They are big ones. In Giorgio Scalvini, £68 million. He will be our right-sided centre-back, replacing De Bast. And then Mika Faye for £52 million, replacing Abakar Silla. So about £130 million spent on two centre-backs. Scalvini comes in, 6'4". He's only 25 still. He's got 57 caps for Italy already. Top level centre-back to bring in. As well as Mika Faye, who I think might be even better, potentially. He was at Rennes, and he's cost us, what, £52 million? I think he looks phenomenal. Left-sided centre-back. I look for the physicals in any player on the game, but his physicals are outrageous, look, for a centre-back. 6'1" as well. Naturally left-sided. He comes in, Senegalese international. That's our new defence. We then also loaned in Amandio Claudio, who's a really good young defender, who's going to be our backup centre-back. So our third choice centre-back in this squad too. And we've got a few others as well who can cover it. I think Murillo is still at the club, for example, as well. So we've got good centre-backs. We've covered ourselves, even though we've sold a couple for really big money. Basically, it was the money. I couldn't turn down £87 million for Silla. And De Bast for £40 million. I really felt like we could upgrade on him anyway. Scalvini is an upgrade on him. And we almost, 40 million out, 68 million spent. Kind of felt like a decent way to upgrade on him for a net cost of about 30 million. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? We also this summer signed Angelo on a free transfer. This is more of a money-making signing, if I'm honest, because he's on a free transfer, and I think we might be able to sell him on for a massive profit. And in the meantime, he can contribute to the squad, where he's going to be on the bench most games. He's already played 4 games. He's actually started 3 games because of injuries and done quite well for us. So maybe he can grab the chance here, or we can sell him for a massive profit because he was a free transfer signing. We also then finally signed Zion Suzuki. I told you I really like him. He was on that loan at Sporting. They cancelled it. He wouldn't go back there. So I've decided to sign him for Wolves, and he'll become the backup keeper here and then move around some of the other keepers a little bit, which is why I've loaned out Froylan Diaz to Sheffield United here so that he goes and gets game time in the meantime, type of thing. That means that the Wolves squad looks a bit like this. Let's go through the team. We've got Dennis Simon in goal. The right back will be Alex Scott mainly for the season. We will have the 2 centre-backs in Mika Faye and Scalvini. Martins will be the left back, although Belieber will be his rotation option. I'm kind of leaning towards using Belieber back in the midfield for this year where needed, although he is obviously going to play a lot of games at left back. That's mainly because Gonzalo Martins is actually really good, and we kind of need to give him game time to make him the best player that he can become. He came through the intake at Sporting. He was going to go because he has a release clause. We decided that Manchester United weren't going to get him, for example. We would pay the release clause, bring him in. He's actually good enough to play, so we're going to play him now. In the midfield, we've got Wharton and then probably most likely Gavi as the 2 in our midfield. Probably Wharton on that side like that. We've also still got, though, Lavia. We've got Naipan. We've got Belieber. We've got all sorts of really good midfielders. Probably some that I've not even mentioned there as well. And then in the attack, Pafundi on the right-hand side. We would then usually have Krupi on the left-hand side. And then the strikers of Watio, and not usually Escobar, but instead Benjamin Sesko. But we've got the likes of Escobar and Yuri Penis and loads of other great attackers too. It's a really good squad, isn't it? This is the Wolves squad. This is how we've started the season. It's been a bit up and down. We've had 5 games, won 2 and drawn 3. Still unbeaten, but drawn to Norwich, Brentford and Villa. Not ideal necessarily, is it? But I'm hoping that because they're unbeaten, we're only 4 points off the top, they can kind of get themselves back up there in the next few games. They won their first Champions League game as well, 6-1 against Copenhagen with, Yuri Penis scored a couple of goals there. That's the Wolves team. Finally, out of our 4 teams, we have Wolfsburg, the final piece of our puzzle as we move around all of these pieces. And it went all the way down to deadline day as well with the transfers. This is the Wolfsburg business. And this one shouldn't take as long because I've only brought in 2 players at Wolfsburg. I would say they are the most complete club, the most complete squad. They are probably the top dogs, I would say, even though Wolves must be quite close to them winning the Premier League previously. But I think Wolfsburg is still the best squad of players that we've got. It's actually one of the smaller squads as well. but it's been another summer defined really by sales with only a couple of signings. Now, a couple of signings that you'll notice are big ones we have signed. Let's do them straight away. Moises Caicedo has joined from Chelsea for £72 million. I love Moises Caicedo. I think he is one of, if not the best six in the Premier League in real life. I actually love the way he plays football. I'm a big fan, even as a Liverpool fan. It would have been glorious if they signed him that time, wouldn't it? But still, I still really like him. We've signed him alongside Livano Comenencia, which I love the story of Comenencia in this save. He went to Bayern. We've bought him for 30 million because he didn't play loads, but he's actually got a great backstory in that we kind of found him. We signed him from Juventus Next Gen for 96k with Wolvesberger, sent him on a loan look, played him when he came back. He got a £15 million move because of these performances for Wolfsburger to Bournemouth. 2 seasons at Bournemouth got him a move to Bayern, where he had a good season, but he's not a starter necessarily. I mean, he's played 25 games in the league, but I still wouldn't call him first choice necessarily. And then he became available to us to sign for 30 million to be one of our midfield options rotations. I love it. We made him a natural right back already way back when he was playing for Wolfsburger. So we've already done the spineless thing of turning him into a right back. He can cover in the midfield as a pretty natural defensive midfield as well, with all of the right attributes for it. I really like the story. He's only 25 still as well. So Comenencia and Caicedo as 2 new DMs, or defensive midfielders. And that's because we've sold a couple of players in that position as well. If we go and sort this by value, we have sold Wolvesberger to Tottenham Hotspur for £80 million. If you remember, he went on loan last season to Napoli. It had a potential transfer fee, optional transfer fee of like £115 million. They didn't end up taking it up, which is probably not a surprise because it's a lot of money. But we have still managed to sell him to Spurs for £80 million. I love Wolvesberger. I think he's fantastic. He's had a great career. He scored, look, 36 goals in 125 games for us. But I think we've already upgraded on him with Lamine Yamal. It's Lamine Yamal, isn't it? Of course we have. So I think 80 million for what is essentially a backup player. Too good to turn down, isn't it, really? And then we've also sold Hugo Larsson. This one he was a starter. And this is where I've added that realism type of approach because City came knocking for over £100 million. He really wanted to go. So I decided he can go and we'll just replace him with Caicedo. I had a quick look at the market and was like, well, Caicedo's available for cheaper. So let's just do a straight swap in that position there. Larsson out, Caicedo in, and that kind of made my mind up. We also did sell Balcazar as well, who is also a defensive midfielder because he went. We brought in Comenencia to come and be our defensive midfielder there because we sold a lot of defensive like Stiller, now Larsson. We've sold a lot of our really good defensive midfielders that we bring into this Wolfsburg team, then go on and make big transfers elsewhere, and we just replace them with another one. Caicedo being this one here. Look, there were some other outgoings here, lots of them as loans, etc. All of that all together, though, means that our squad looks like this. Atabolu in goal. Wirtz at right back. I know it's still weird. Kirkes at left back. Lukeba, Mosquera, but usually João Hato as the starting left centre back. And then in the midfield, Neves, Caicedo, with Comenencia and Sudakov as the backups in that position. We've still got as well Desiree Doué, who could play in there, but I've been using him as a winger on this left-hand side. Actually, a lot of the time it's Doué here, or Xavi Simons here on this left-hand side. Yamal on the right, Sultani and Gruber as the strikers, with Matthias Tal as a backup striker or a backup left winger, with also Nelson Viper as a backup striker as well, or even Iggy Dubs as one of the other ones too. We've got a lot of really good players. Savino's the backup right winger. We've replaced Bargi with him already. He's going to be our backup right-hand side player with Yamal. And that's our really strong Wolfsburg squad, which I'm hoping goes on to win another season, our 4th successive Bundesliga title. Would be lovely at this stage. And we are favourites now. So we've actually built the best squad in the league, even better than Bayern's, which is a good thing, isn't it? That, though, if I take a big breath now, is the transfer business for 2028. The summer window 2028. That's how we've set up our 4 teams. I've gone and played that season now. So I'm going to come back with an update in January because the transfers continue and I've done some more then. But I'll come and update you with how the seasons have gone to the halfway point. We'll do some transfers. Then we're going to go to the end of the season where we're going to play the games together. All right, then, welcome back to the end of January then of our season, which is going to be a double update for you for the season. We're going to show you what's happened with the league season so far, the Champions League so far for each of our 4 teams, as well as a transfer update, because usually January is not as busy as this, but we've done a lot of transfers in January because of the bids that our players are receiving. We'll start, though, with Spineless Sporting in Portugal, who, as you can see, are top of the league. We're having a really good season with Sporting. Those transfers that we did in the summer have definitely improved the club, as well as the idea that Porto have dropped off a little bit. They're only 4th in the league, Porto, look, with 40 points. They've lost 4 games, drawn 4 already. They drew to us. They lost to us. We've done all right. We've got 20 games played, just 1 loss so far. 53 points, 8 points clear at the top. It looks really good for us to win our first league title since 2024, which would be a nice way to get ourselves back into the save. First league title. It means that with each of our 4 teams in our network, we would have won our domestic leagues, which again is another step towards completing this save, if you like. But with these results, with this going on so far, we've also got the Champions League to update you on. The Champions League phase looks like this after 8 games. And I suppose actually the biggest update here is not that Wolfsburg, Sporting and Wolves are all successfully through to the next round. Wolves have gone straight through, passing past the playoffs. Sporting and Wolfsburg are in the playoffs. But Wolfsburger have failed us. After 8 games, we got 8 points and they're out. It's really annoying. We did win our last game to give us a shot right there, but they lost 4 of the 8 games. They had tough fixtures, but losing away at Eindhoven and away at Galatasaray, probably not in the plan, and definitely not to lose at home to Cologne, which it's annoying because actually if we get through, we've got a good chance of knocking teams out in the knockouts, but we're out of the Champions League with Wolfsburger. We won't have all 4 teams in the final 4 of that competition, which means we won't complete the save in today's video, which means we might need to do another video and another season. And if there's appetite for that from you guys, then that's something I'll go and do, because I'll keep playing it anyway, to be honest, because I really love it and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But if you want videos, you have to leave a like and let me know in the comments down below if we want to continue. Back to Sporting though. We'll get to that Wolfsburger update when we come to them next. But Sporting are, as I say, top of the league. We did just win 13-0 against Firenze. Darvic scored a hat-trick. França scored a hat-trick. I think there were 2 goals in there for Majic as well. 2 for Ryan Flamingo. Weird, but we are a really good football team. I think that does show that, doesn't it? The squad, though, has changed slightly because of transfer business in January. The big one is that Roberto Ferrari has left us. We have sold our star striker. He was angling for a move a little bit in the summer, saying that he wanted to go to a bigger club. Leeds, and after a bit of a transfer auction that we put on, have bid 90 million, rising to 107 million. And Roberto Ferrari has gone there. He's really good. He's a wonder kid. He's 19. He's got Italian caps. He's going to be a top level striker, isn't he? He's got 18 acceleration, 17 pace, 16 agility, 16 finishing. It's no wonder that teams wanted, but actually his goal scoring record wasn't that good for us this year. 11 games, look, 2 goals. Last season was much better, but this season he had injuries. He struggled a bit, and then Caicedo came in and started scoring loads of goals. So we've sold him to Leeds. I'm really happy with what we've done to replace him. The replacement is as follows. We have brought in Nelson Viper on loan from Wolfsburg. Now, Viper, I tried to loan him to Wolfsberger in the summer. He wouldn't go there because he wasn't interested. Now, though, after not playing for half a season at Wolfsburg, he's happy to go on loan. He's going to replace Ferrari, and that means that we keep him in the network because I really like him. I just don't think he's quite that top level Nelson Viper, especially when we brought in other strikers like Gruber, and Soltani, who are just better than him. But now he's going to get regular game time in Portugal. He's already scored on his debut and then also got 2 assists in his first 2 games. 8 average rating. It looks like he's made himself at home. Long may that continue, and I'm really happy with that bit of business. In January, it was only Ferrari sold, and then in Jan, we also signed another player on loan and bring him back into the network, at least on loan anyway. Fabian Krivac has joined as a defensive midfield option. I'd love to sign him permanently. Krivac had a really long spell at Wolfsberger. He started at Wolfsburg, went on loan to Wolfsburger, had 3 seasons there. We sold him to Leipzig for 38 million. He played less this season, and we've been able to loan him. So if we can turn that into a permanent, that'd be quite nice. I love the story of these players leaving the network and then being brought back. We keep tracks on all these players. Even the players we sell, we never truly switch off from them, and they may be brought back in at some point, which is what we've done with Krivac. And that's the transfer business for January. One last thing to update you on is that, yes, indeed, we have been able to sign Esteval on a free transfer. He's joining permanently at the end of his loan spell, which I think is a great thing to be able to do. He's improving as a footballer with regular game time as well. His value's come down to, it was like 120 million before, but we are signing him permanently. The wage is a little bit more than £625 per week, but it's not actually that much still. I think this is a really fun signing. He's had a good first half of the season as well. Look, 6 goals, 6 assists good average rating. I'll just show you some of the stats of the players as well so that you can see how they've been performing. And we'll do this for each of the teams too. Jonah Caicedo is our top goal scorer again with 21 and 27 starts. 10 goals for França off the left-hand side. We've got Viper who's just come in. Majic has got 12 and 28. Not prolific. I don't know if this is a thing that's just going to be how he is as a striker, but he doesn't score as many as I would want him to. 20 years old, look now. 6'2". I want him to score a bit more. That's his record, look. He had this good season at Wolfsburger, but even then, 17. I feel like there's other strikers who've scored more. He's got 7 and 16. It's not bad, but he's not as prolific as, say, Caicedo, who's now had 2 back-to-back seasons of, he will end up with lots of goals. Even then, I suppose he's got 9 and 18. 13. It's 9 and 13 starts, though. 21 and 27 altogether. He is a bit more of a goal scorer. Nelson Viper even, look, back in the day for Wolfsburg, was a really good goal scorer. 28 and 34 back in the day here, look, before he became a little bit more of a bit part player this year. Only 6 sub appearances, which is why he's gone out on loan, why we brought him in here. Other key performers, though, Noah Darvish in the midfield has been brilliant this year, 11 assists. Alex Valler's got 10 assists, look, from left back. Julio Juarez has made a good start to his career, 7 assists from right back too. It's a very well-functioning team here at Sporting. Hopefully, we can go far in the Champions League as well, where we have our knockout playoff game against Atletico Madrid. It's going to be tough, but I do have a good feeling about getting through that game, so hopefully that can be the case. Let's go to Wolfsberger and show you how their January and first half of the season has gone. These are the transfers. If I just sort this by date, look, there is one signing in January, as well as that loan that we've teed up in Iggy Dubs. Iggy Dubs is what I call him. Ignace de Buisson is his real name. He is from Belgium. He's come in on loan. He's still only 18 years old, but will be a really nice option for us. Hector Fort has come in as well for £21 million. We're going to play him left back, even though I think, is he right-footed? Oh, yeah, he is right-footed, but he can play left back. He comes in because Valentin Barco, who I told you I was going to hold on to with everything that I've got in the summer, has ended up moving for massive money. Bayern Munich have bought him for £56 million, rising to 77. So couldn't really say no to that, could I? So he's gone out. We've brought in Hector Fort to replace him. It means that the squad looks something like this. Probably, yeah, no, this is about the first team squad. Ekatike and Seto as the first choice strikers with Iggy Dubs as the backup in there. Ekatike has got 20 goals, look, in 32 games. He has been brilliant in the Alpenliga. Koki Sato's got 13 goals, 16 goals from Franco Mastantuono on the right-hand side. He is joining permanently. This has been teed up for years. I don't know why it's taken so long to join permanently. I think it's because I did a loan that was a 2-season loan, and then he's not joining permanently until that finishes. But he is joining. Look, he's been on loan for 4 seasons now, but will be a Wolfsburger player and a really good one at that. I love what he's managed to achieve. In his time, look, he's got 106 appearances, 44 goals for us, playing on that right-hand side. This team is also doing very well. You'd expect it to be. They are in the lead for the Alpenliga. They are going to win the league, probably 6 points clear of Young Boys. Salzburg spent all that money and are down in 4th place, 10 points behind us after 20 games. They would go back up to 3rd if they win their game in hand, but they're still behind Young Boys legitimately as well. So we are looking like we're going to win a 6th successive title here, but they are, of course, out of the Champions League, which is really rough because they win every game except you get to the Champions League games and then they lose them. Look, they win all their games, lose them in the Champions League. Win all their games, lose in the Champions League. Although they did lose a game here to Lask Linz, I suppose, with a red card in that game there. But they'll go and win the league. It's one of those things. We're not going to get all 4 teams in the semis of the Champions League, but it's okay. Next year might be the case. Let's go to Wolves and update you on them. They are also top of the league with a 5-point gap to Arsenal in 2nd. Arsenal do have a game in hand, so this one could end up still being close. They could go to 56 points if they win that game in hand, 2 points behind. It's not a perfect season from Wolves in the league. I'll show you here. There is 7 draws in the 25 games. Only 1 loss, though. They lost away to Spurs. It's a good season, but Arsenal are pushing them close. Arsenal themselves have only lost 3 games and drawn 5. So, look, the wins are pretty close between the two. If they win that game in hand, they would have won as many games as we have, which is always a good barometer for how well a team is doing, isn't it? How many wins they get. The squad here didn't change in January, so we are very much the same as we were before. No sales, no players brought in either. So no real updates for the squad. This is how they're performing. The best performer again is Simeone Pafundi. Him and Krupi have been a joy in this squad. Both wanted something to keep an eye on. Red Bull Salzburg, Spurs and Leipzig. So both Red Bull teams coming for Pafundi is interesting. Also Salzburg in for Krupi. Krupi's goal scoring in this save, by the way, outrageously good. Look, he had he had a bit of an off season there where he scored 7. I think he had injuries maybe, but 19 last year, 9 this year. He's been phenomenal at both teams. He's played, in fact, he's played for 3 teams. He played for Wolfsberger, Wolfsburg, and now Wolves. At Wolves, he's got 53 and 122. Still only 23 as well. Similarly, Fundy on the other side, on the other wing, also a fantastic servant for us. £45 million he cost, 44 goals in 125. Then we've got Cesco and Watio as our strikers. Cesco's got 19 goals, Watio's got 12. Both pretty good. And then you can see the performances of the other players down there. Look, very happy with both centre-backs, even though their average ratings aren't quite there, but they've been pretty good. And we've also had Baliba playing more games at left-back than I imagined he was going to, even though Martins has also played 18 games as well. So they are rotating in there. Angelo wanted, look, in January, didn't manage to get him out, even though he did get himself transfer listed by request. We were looking at selling him, but nobody came in with a good enough bid. The window's technically still open. I think it's just closed, actually. Look, so maybe a last minute one there, but I don't think it's going to happen for Angelo. Maybe in the summer, but that's kind of why we bought him, isn't it? That's the Wolves team. Not loads to update you on there. They are top of the league. They're through in the Champions League as well, straight past into the round of 16. So we don't know who we're going to play yet for them. Lastly, though, Wolfsburg also top of the league. Look, 56 points. Bayern in second, 8 points behind them. Another solid season for them. There has been a little bit of January business for them. We sold this January. We, of course, let Nelson Viper go out on loan to Sporting in January, as well as Iggy Dubs to go in December, at the end of that December on loan. So 2 strikers out, as well as Savinho sold for 93 million, or at least rising to 93 million pounds. PSG came in for him. Again, I just can't really say no to this type of money for players that aren't starters. We've got Lamine Yamal. He starts ahead of Savinho. If you're going to pay me the best part of 100 million for him, and I mean, make a profit on a player we bought for 50 million, who's played 23 league games in that time, I'm probably going to say yes, even though I really like him. We had him on loan and then we signed him permanently, look. But we've had him on loan, I suppose, before that, and he played a lot of games. But I can't say no to that money. So he's gone for big money, and I've replaced him in the team with João Pedro. I thought João Pedro actually is a really useful, I'm going to say backup, but I do envisage that he will play a lot of games for us because he can play left side, right side, number 10 and striker. So he'll come in and he's a bit of a Matthias Tell. We've got Matthias Tell, and he's not a first name on the team sheet these days, but he plays a load of games every year because he rotates as a left winger and as a striker. And I think João Pedro can do that on both sides and as a striker. We don't play with a 10, but if we did, he could play there as well. So João Pedro is in £66 million. I used the Savinho money to go and do that. And that's really the only update for Wolfsburg. Performance-wise, you can see the players that have had the most impact. 17 assists from Florian Inverts at right back. Outrageous player. Certainly shouldn't be a right back, but he is good when he plays there. Look, 17 assists, 16 assists and 10 goals from Lamine Yamal on the right-hand side. Still only 22 years old in this save. Xavi Simons has played a lot more games. Sultani's got 26 goals in 28. Big coming-of-age season for this French striker. 20 years old. He is an outrageous talent. He's Mbappe Mark II. 31 in 61 now. I really feel like he can up those numbers too, because he's got 26 in 28 this season. Gruber's got 21 and 26. Both strikers performing to a truly elite level. Keeping out Matthias Tell on the bench here, who is wanted. But I kind of don't want to sell him to Spurs as well. That's interesting, isn't it? His real life actual team now. I kind of want to keep him because he's been so good for us. He's got, look, 179 appearances, 102 goals. But he's not a starter these days. But he does chip in. He's played 15 games still. Same with Desiree Doué, rotating with Xavi Simons. We've got Comenensi has played 16 games, coming back into the network, which is a fun one. Sudakov, I think we might need to maybe look at selling because he doesn't really play at the moment. Although the squad is quite small, so it's good to have him around. I suppose one injury and he'd be on the bench, wouldn't he? I suppose is the way to look at that. That is Wolfsburg, though. Top of the league, as I showed you. In the Champions League playoff round, they've got Barcelona, which is a really tricky one. So I'm hoping our Champions League run doesn't come to an end there. But that updates you fully on our teams. That is another busy window. Oh, this is a fun one as well, actually. Brilliant Diaz is going to go to Wolves, look, to be one of their backup goalkeepers on a free because I didn't want him to leave the network, but I also didn't want to give him a new contract. We're also signing this guy called Enzo for £19 million. I don't know if I showed you him in the last video, but it's been teed up for a while, but he's a wonder kid from Brazil, 17 years old with under 20 caps. Look, 19 million, 20 flair. If he can improve these physicals, that's another fantastic footballer to bring into our network, isn't it? Oh, you can also see I rejected a bid from Matthias Tell here, look, from Barcelona. What we're going to go and do now is go to the end of the season, and if there are games to play them together to finish off this season to see what type of grandstand finish we can go for. I really would like, with all of the teams looking like they're going to win their domestic leagues, it's all about the Champions League, isn't it? So let's go and see how the teams fare in the Champions League, and if they're still in it, play some games together. Okay, so welcome back to the end of March now. We've had a couple more months, and I'm going to start with Wolfsburger because they're out of the Champions League, so there's no real updates to bring you with them. Other than that, they're about to win the league title again. There are 6 games to go. They are 11 points clear. Wolfsburg, after spending, they spent more in January, I think, as well. They did. They bought another couple of players, not loads, though. They spent £286 million and are 5th in the Alpenliga, behind Lausanne Sports. They do have 3 games in hand, which I don't really know why. Are they still in the Champions League? Maybe that's why. 3 games in hand could give them 9 points and could take them to 62, which is second, but way off us, 8 points behind, even if they win all those games. So the Wolfsburger update is that they're going to win the league. However, we're not here for the Wolfsburger update. I'm here to bring you updates on the other 3 teams which are still in the Champions League. And that is a big clue of what I'm going to show you here. Let's go to Sporting first of all, where Sporting defeated Atletico Madrid 7-4 on aggregate in the playoff round in the Champions League. On the screen, you'll also see that Wolfsburg did manage to beat Barcelona 7-5 on aggregate after a 3-1 loss in the second leg. But we'll come on to those in a second. We're concentrating on Sporting. But it does mean that heading into the quarterfinals, which, have they been drawn yet? I think they have. The quarterfinals, look. We are going to have 3 of our 4 teams in the Champions League quarterfinals. If they can win their ties, they didn't draw each other, which I'm actually almost... Am I disappointed? No, I don't want them to until at least the semi-finals, do we? If they all win, which is against the odds because we've got United, City and Bayern. If they all win, it means that we will have 3 out of 4 in the Champions League semi-finals. What we're going to do is we're going to choose one of the games to go and watch, and then we're going to see who progresses, and we're going to follow the Champions League journey together in today's video to see things through, hopefully until one of these teams wins the Champions League. I'm going to put my money on Wolfsburg. I think they've got the best chance. Again, they've got United here, which is maybe easier than City or Bayern. Bayern on all that though. We know that Wolfsburg are better than Bayern, so there is that. Maybe Wolves, I'd maybe say Wolfsburg and Wolves can get through here. I'd probably expect Sporting to go out to City. That's kind of how I feel, but we're going to go and find out. Sporting are still top of the league in Portugal. They are 8 points clear with a game in hand, so that's all good. We go across to Wolfsburg as well. They are also top of the league with, 8 points clear of Bayern in second place. We saw their results in fact, let me just go back to Sporting's results in the Champions League. This is how the playoff round went. Look, they won 5-3 in the first leg. They had Esteval score twice, Caicedo, Fofana scored twice to win 5-3. And then in the second leg at home, that was away from home. Back at home, they won 2-1 with Caicedo and Krivak scoring. That saw them through into the round of 16. We've had another round that I've not shown you, haven't we? We had Real Madrid in the round of 16, and they beat them after drawing 3-3 at home. This Sporting team went to the Bernabeu and won 2-0. It was goals from Viper and Esteval. Knocked out Real Madrid. It was a snatch and grab, maybe not entirely deserved if you look at the XG and things on there and the possession. But this Real Madrid team was beaten with Vinicius Jr. and Endrick and Mason Mount, of course, playing as the number 10 there. But that set up this quarter-final tie with Man City. And it may be a step too far, but they're proving everybody wrong. This Sporting team is brilliant, and they're kind of proving everybody wrong this year. If we go to Wolfsburg to show you their progress too, because they also played the playoff knockout round. They had Barcelona. They beat them 6-2 at home. Massive win. There was a red card, which did help because we scored a couple of goals after that. Look, we scored. Jules Koundé gets sent off on 58. We score. Xavi Simons scores. Mosquera scores. And then Vert scores, adding 3 extra goals after the red card, which massively helps, obviously. We then lost to them away 3-1, but won on aggregate overall. Look, so it was all fine. That set up a tie. We had Newcastle in the round of 16, beat them 2-0 at home. This was a bit easier. Sultani scored twice, then scored 1 away from home as well. Before the end, they equalised, but it didn't matter. We went through on aggregate pretty easily. 3-1 on aggregate against Newcastle there. That sets up this Manchester United tie. And then finally, I need to show you what Wolves did in the round of 16. They had PSG, drew away from home, and then beat them 2-1 at home. Sesko with what turned out to be the winner, even though Doku scored a penalty here. They are also still top of their league, but it's very close. There is a title race going on in the Premier League. United second. Maybe United are better than City then, actually, thinking about it. City are down in fourth, look, on 57 points. It is all to play for in that league. The other leagues are pretty much sewn up, I'm going to go as far as saying, with not that many games to go, actually. Look, there is only a handful. In the Premier League, we've got 7 games to play. And the other leagues, it's something similar to those. What I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go and play these quarterfinal games and bring you an update after those. And then if any teams go through, we'll start to watch some matches, do some live comms in the semi-finals. But I did want to stop before that to give you an update to show you sort of where we're standing. And we're going to kind of do this together. But I think we'll start to do the live comms for the semi-final. So I'll be back in on about the 12th of April with some results for these quarterfinal games. Bayern Munich for Wolves, Man City for Sporting, and Manchester United for Wolfsburg. Let's go and find out how they do. All right, then, here are the Champions League quarterfinal results, and maybe a little bit predictable in how the results have gone. We'll go through them, though. Bayer Leverkusen Galatasaray was nothing to do with us, obviously, but actually quite a low quality affair, really, if you think about it, for a Champions League quarterfinal. It is Bayer Leverkusen that have gone through there, so a potential German opposition in that semi-final. But then the three games that concern our teams, and as I say, it was kind of predictable. Wolfsburg have managed to get through against Manchester United with a phenomenal second leg effort. They have won 6-5 on aggregate. The second leg was 4-0 back in Wolfsburg. This Wolfsburg team here did the business to overturn that first half, or that first game deficit. It's a hilarious comeback, really. Yamal and then a Pino on goal. Gruber then scored twice to do the business, and it's Wolfsburg through, which is predictable, but it's a hell of a turnaround. That first leg finished 5-2 to Manchester United, and Wolfsburg have still managed to go through, which is a little bit outrageous. Goals that Simons and Gruber, but Xerxes scored twice, an own goal from Fayardo, Rashford and Garnacho won 5-2, but a 4-0 second leg sees them through to the semi-finals. But then the next one, Sporting against Manchester City. They put up a really big, good fight here, Sporting, but Man City ultimately have won it 4-2 on aggregate. It was 2-2 in the second leg back in Portugal, and a little bit heartbreaking, really, because it was 2-0 to City in Manchester. The Sporting team did put up a good fight, Bellingham and Majic with the goals, but it wasn't quite enough. So they've gone out, and it means that we're going to have two teams in the semi-final, because Wolves have managed to beat our German rivals Bayern Munich 4-3 on aggregate. It was another second leg comeback, really. A 3-1 win, a domination look in this second leg, completely dominating the stats. Krupi, Pafundi, and then Escobar right at the end, with the goal that ultimately won it 4-3 on aggregate. It was another turnaround. This was the Wolves team. Look, it's Escobar on the left. Krupi played as a striker. Gavi played as a right winger, with Baliba starting in the midfield there. It did the job, though. Even though they lost that first leg, look, 2-1, Angelo wasn't supposed to be a big player in this team. He was signed on a free for money, but he's come up with a massive goal, even if it didn't really seem like it at the time, because we still lost that game. Interestingly as well, former spineless players Barco and Stiller with the goals for Bayern Munich. They are actually buying quite a few of our old players in the team if you go through them, which is quite a fun little extra added thing to the save. I quite like it. And we've signed a few from them as well, of course, over the years too. That all means, though, with Wolves going through, with Wolfsburg going through, and sadly Sporting going out. What a run, by the way. Quarterfinals in their first year back in the competition. Our first year with us in charge in the competition. Up to the quarters. It keeps me thinking that semi-final dream of all four teams in there, it can happen one day. I really do think it can happen one day. All of this means, though, that we have a draw that's taken place for the semi-finals. And that draw looks like this. It's Bayer Leverkusen versus Wolfsburg. That is a great tie to get in a Champions League semi-final, isn't it? It gives Wolfsburg a huge chance of getting to the final. And Wolves have got Man City. So an all-German affair and an all-English affair. And I'm just going to say it. There's a really good chance that we could have a repeat of the final, which happened all those years ago. That's not the final. Where can I find the finals? That final that happened all those years ago, where Wolfsburg, there it is, beat Wolves in the Nou Camp in 2027. Can we make this happen again? Can these teams go and win their semi-finals, I should say? We're going to go and find out. Let's go and play. We do one leg from each tie. Is that a fun way of doing it? Or is it? Let's go and find out how they go. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to play the first leg. So I'll see you for a live com for one of the second legs. Let's go and get to that point. Okay, welcome back to this ridiculous situation. Spineless Wolfsburg have defeated Bayer Leverkusen on penalties to make it to another Champions League final. All that remains now is if Wolves can go and do the business and get there as well. We are looking very likely in a great place to see a rerun of the 2027 Champions League final where Wolfsburg beat Wolves. Can Wolves get their own back? Wolfsburg will be there. They've beaten Bayer Leverkusen on penalties in what was a ridiculous game. The first leg was 2-2 in Leverkusen. The second leg was 1-1 on the night. Matthias Tell with an equaliser after Moreira scored the opening goal. Moreira, who played for Sporting back in, before we were Spineless Sporting, but did play for one of our teams back in the day. It was a ridiculous end to the game. Caicedo got sent off. Lucaba got sent off, both inside a minute. And then Moreira got himself sent off at the end as well before extra time. It went to penalties. Onyeka missed his penalty. Onyeka used to play for Wolfsburger before we sold him, and he's ended up at Bayer Leverkusen. Look, he missed his penalty, and then the other penalties were scored. João Pedro scored his, Sultani Doué, Caicedo, and then Fajardo with the winning penalty in the end. Giving Fajardo the winning penalty or the final penalty at 19 years old is a bit of an outrageous one as well. He's got 8 penalties taken, but he did the business. Wolfsberger in the Champions League final. Will they be joined, though, by Wolves or Manchester City? Wolves and Manchester City have it all to play for in the second leg, but look at this. Away at the Etihad, Wolves have got themselves a 3-1 lead. Theo Hernandez sent off on 4 minutes after Krupi gave us a first-minute lead. Wharton then got him. It's a lot of red cards, isn't it? Wharton got himself sent off with 2 yellows in 2 minutes. But then Gavi and then Alex Scott scored to make it 3-0 on the night. Erling Haaland has thrown a slight cat amongst the pigeons with a late goal. But a 3-1 lead to take back to Molineux. We're in a fantastic position to make it an all-spineless final. Again, just like it was back in 2027. This was the final then. Look, a 4-1. I can't look at it. A 4-1 victory in the new camp for Wolfsburg. We could run it back today if we can hold on against Man City. And that is what we are going to go and do now. We're going to go and get ourselves ready to go and play that final game there. Does that mean that Turquez, Lucaba are both going to miss the final? I think it does, doesn't it? Can I appeal? I might as well appeal. Why not? If he gets an extra day or an extra game, it's going to be for next season, right? So we might as well appeal it. Now, though, let's turn our attentions to Wolves because now is the day, look. The day after, we play City at home with a chance to book an all-spineless Champions League final, which we'll, of course, do as a live com. We're going to have to do it as that weird live com where we set both teams up and then go and watch it with a third-party team, aren't we? That's fine, though. We can do it that way. If we holiday the 2 managers, we'll get that set up if we can make it. Because if we don't make it, then that's not a problem, is it? Let's pick this team then. I'm going to do a quick pick to start with, and then we'll go through the team. Is there any big changes here? Mika Faye, I think, should start. Franks in the midfield is an interesting one. But we do have a few... Actually, no, we'll put Gavi back in there. Gavi and Belieber. That is because Wharton is suspended. So he needs to drop out. I think, yeah, we'll do Gavi and Belieber, I think, as our midfield too. And then we'll do in the attack, Fundy back in with Krupi on the left-hand side with the 2 strikers. We are missing. You know what? I might do Angelo, or we might make one change in there. We're going to do Krupi as a striker, and we're going to bring Penis in as the left winger. Still, every time I say that name, and yes, he's got the number 69 on. Of course he has. This is going to be the team. We're going to stick with the attacking system because I think if we compromise that now, I think that would be a mistake. We've got a 2-goal lead. We just need to be sensible. We might give ourselves a Champions League final here. There's the City team. It has Erling Haaland, of course, in it, which is always terrifying. We're underway. Haaland, Foden, Oscar Bob, Ansu Fati, Valverde, and then Larson, who we sold to them in the midfield. We have a first highlight with Profundi. You can see how quickly I play the game. I might slow it down for you guys, but this is how quickly we play it because we have so many games to go and play with 4 teams in there. I will slow it down for you guys, though. Scalvini. Can we get an early goal? And that kind of puts this to bed, doesn't it? A 3-goal advantage. Watio, Penis, Watio. Oh, my word, what a finish. Is he onside? I think he might well be. I didn't see a flag. And he smashed it in off of a little flick from Yuri Penis. We're going to check it. Disallowed. He was offside. There was a flag after all. This guy must have had it up and I didn't see it. Okay. I mean, it's a lovely finish, look. Penis's flick on. Close, but yeah, probably just what finish into the top corner. Edison is still the City goalkeeper in 2029. Are we in now or 2028? He's 36 years old and still there. Ruben Diaz is still in the defence as well. He must be. He's 32 now. How old's Haaland nowadays? 29. It's ridiculous how young he actually is, isn't it? And how good he is. Silly. Right, anyway, 13 minutes gone, though. Nothing to worry about so far. That 2-goal advantage still intact. Okay, highlight for City down the right-hand side. It's in towards Foden, but look, there he is. Dennis Simon. I actually don't know who our best goalie is out of the 4 that we've now got. I wonder if Wilhelm Rest at Sporting might actually be the best of the keepers. He's really good. Simon must be up there, though. Oh, I thought he was going to miss that. I thought Wattio was going to be an on goal. Where will this highlight actually end up? It looks like it's going to be Haaland in, but would he have been offside? Maybe. We're going to pass it around the back. It's a long highlight. That's going to go to a City player, isn't it? Haaland, is he onside? We've got it back anyway. Penis. That's a lovely ball over the top for Pafundi. Pafundi into Krupi. That's a beautiful counter-attack goal. That puts us 3-0 up, or 3 goals up, I should say. 4-1 on aggregate, 1-0 on the night. That's how you break down Manchester City. I thought that was a long highlight. Look at the space they've left at left back. Fundy's there. Little ball inside. Krupi playing as a striker scores. Ederson can do nothing. That might be game over, really. We do have a corner here. Wattio into Scalvini. Back to Wattio. Can we add an extra before half-time? There's a lot of space there for Yuri Penis. Into... Oh, that's a penalty. It's a foul on Mika Faye. It looks a bit soft, but we're going to get a penalty to make it 5-1 on aggregate. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen this game as the second leg to show. We've missed out on that penalty shootout in the other game because I chose this one as the live com game. And this looks like it's going to be kind of straightforward. It's going to be Pafundi with the pen. He's going to score the pen. It's 5-1 on aggregate. 2-0 up inside the first half. 28 goals for Simeone Pafundi this season, by the way. What a player he is. What a signing he is to make on FM24. I wonder how good he'll be on FM26 nowadays. Ridiculous that you have to say that, isn't it? Anyway, that will probably take us now to half-time. And it's plain sailing from here, isn't it? There is the half-time whistle. I'm going to say to them, I'm pleased. I think that's all I need to say. Do I do sub? Do I rest players for the final? Wattio is quite tired. Maybe we take him off soon. But that's probably all I need to be thinking about at this stage. Okay, City have a corner. They might get one back in. No, it's come off the bar. That's as close as they've come. It's going to be another corner. But Guardiola's header, that's really all they've done to threaten so far, isn't it? Look at these weird kits as well with the green on them. I love that. The green and the yellow is such a weird colour coordination in the crowd there. But I suppose that's what you get when you get taken over by spineless energy. That's horrible from whoever that was. Who is that? It was Ruben Diaz, and he's been tackled by Wattio. Wattio, I said, was tired, and now look at him. Like a gazelle doing back heels and stuff. He's won a throw-in. I'm going to take him off soon. Okay, actually, from that throw-in, we do actually have a highlight starting as well. So, Faye into Penis, into the box, into Wattio. It's 3-0 on the night, 6-1 on aggregate. If this is given, now I'm looking, that flag doesn't look very up to me. But I thought that in the first half and the goal was given. So or the goal was disallowed. Let's see if it's given. It is goal awarded. Wattio's got himself a goal before I can take him off. And it's Yuri Penis with another little assist as well. It's a good little ball into him. In at the near post. 3-0, 6-1. This is easy. Is this a bit scary for Wolfsburg in the final? Is this time for Wolves to get their revenge for that Champions League final a couple of years ago? It might be, you know. We're actually on the attack again here. I've brought on Lavia and a few other subs. Pafundi's into the box. He's got it back. Krupi, it's 4. I thought that might be a goal. The way that the highlight kind of felt goal, and it's 7-1 on aggregate. We're completely destroying Manchester City here. What was I worried about? Why was I worried? Banyos wins it back. He's just on. Pafundi then finds... Well, eventually it comes back to him, then comes to Krupi. Krupi scores again. 7-1 with 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes to play. City are going to cross it here. There's going to be a goal back. Ruben Diaz has got a goal back there. I think they are going to check this one as well. The flag is down. It looks like they're going to get themselves... They're going to make it 7-2. Is the comeback on? Probably not. You'd probably have to say, wouldn't you? Is it? Yeah, goal awarded. There we go. We're on the attack again straight away here. Frimpong. Back to the keeper, Ederson. They're passing it around the back. They've given it away. They're all over the place. We've scored again. Pafundi scored again. I knew it. City are all over the place in this game. 5-1. 8-2 on aggregate. I mean, I think we can now say that we're going to get an all spineless Champions League final. That is literally the minute after they got that goal back. Look, it's still 69 minutes on the clock. Pafundi smashed it past after they passed it to us, basically. Look, 69 Diaz, 70 Pafundi. We scored on 67 as well. It doesn't really stop. I'm going to tell the lads to just sort of chill out a bit. We don't need to go for this anymore. Just relax. I don't need to see any more goal. In fact, Gavi's not playing very well. We've got a few tired players. Let's do subs, but basically chill out at this stage. Let's get Angelo on as well. We've done a few subs there. There's 10 minutes, well, less than 10 minutes to play at this stage. And we're ready for an all spineless final. We're going to have to do that thing where we send our managers on holiday. Haaland's got another goal back. What a ridiculous 41 goals this season he scored. This one might be offside. I think the flag was up, but that's a lot of goals. 8-3 it would be. I think this one's going to be disallowed though. It is. Okay, it stays 5-1. It stays 8-2. All right, then we're into added time. There's 2 minutes added on. This is it then. Final whistle has blown. It is confirmed. An all spineless Champions League final, which will of course be there to go and witness. I'll go and get ourselves up to that. Lecaber's suspended. We've got a couple of suspensions for Wolfsburg as well. I'll go and get all of that ready, and I'll be back when we're ready to view and find out who's going to win the Champions League. We've got another Champions League. We've won the Champions League in the save. That's something that just dawned on me then. We've won the Champions League because it will be either Wolfsburg or Wolves this season. Look at that. Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club. Really small writing. I'll see you for the final though. Come on. Here it is then, the Champions League final between Wolfsburg and Wolverhampton Wanderers. I've chosen Anton Salatros to be our man to come and watch this. I've selected both teams and locked in the lineups and everything, then sent both managers on holiday to give us the prime viewing place whilst the assistants actually technically take charge. But I think it's the fairest way to see how this game goes. I've just skipped past the teams there, so I'll read them through from here. The Wolfsburg team is as follows. There's no Kirkes, there is no Mosquera, no, there is no Lucaba, sorry. So it's Hato and Fallardo in for those. Otherwise, it's first choice. The only thing is Caicedo is carrying an orange injury in the midfield, so keep an eye on that one. Gruber and Soltani lead the line with Simons ahead of Doué in the left wing spot. The Wolves team is about as strong as they can go. I'll get to that in a second. We have a free kick. We have our first highlight. Lamine Yamal just outside the box on 17 minutes has hit the... Was it a save or did that hit the post? Oh my word, he's booted that back to the goalkeeper there. Let me take this speed down one little line there for you. The Wolves team, to get back to it, is Simon in goal, Scott at right back, Scalvini, Faye, Martins as the defence, Wharton and Gavi in midfield, Profundi, Krupi, Watio and Sesko. It's basically full strength for Wolves as Wolfsburg come forward again here. Watio on the break though. We saw this Wolves counter-attack against City, didn't we? Watio will be a threat. Sesko back in the team for this one, is surging into the middle, but Wolfsburg have won it back. Both teams are really jumping into these tackles, aren't they? They're winning the ball back from each other. Where is the final this year? I don't think I checked. We'll check that, I think, afterwards. Seems like there's a lot of Wolves fans. There's the Wolfsburg. Okay, maybe this end is the Wolfsburg end, perhaps. And then this side behind us. Yeah, they're Wolfsburg fans, aren't they? This is a long highlight. Who will it go to? It looks like it's going to be Wolfsburg with Yamal into the box. Across Soltani. Wolfsburg lead in the Champions League final. And it's them who take the lead. And it was them, of course, who won the final in 2027. Soltani is the goal scorer after a really long highlight. It's him who wins it back. Then Yamal puts it on a plate for him, look. And he can beat Simon with the shot. 1-0 Wolfsburg in Baku. I really wanted to go and check. They're in Baku for the final. Back to it. Okay, that took me a while to actually go and find it. They're in Baku for this final on the end of May. And as we approach half time, Caicedo looks like he's going to have to come off. That orange injury looks to have got a bit worse. So they're going to have to make a change in midfield. I think it might be Doué, the next option to come and play in that defensive midfield spot. And he's not exactly ideal for it, is he? As Wolves come forward, Profundi's equalised. It might have been deflected. I'm not sure if it's gone in. And Wolves are level 1-1 before half-time. Don't write them off. This team has just smashed Manchester City in the semi-finals. And Profundi keeps scoring goals. Gavi with the assist. Profundi takes the shot. Does it deflect? It does. It hits one of the defenders here. And it's gone and ended up in the back of the net. I think it was off Mosquera or Hato. As we go in at half-time then, we're all level. It's all to play for. We could get extra time. We could get penalties. Will there be any changes at half-time? Has Caicedo come out for the second half? He has. No changes for either team then as we go into the 52nd minute. Or in the 52nd minute. Yamal dinks it forward to Florian Wirtz. Goes back to Fallardo. Fallardo shoots over. This left back, by the way, is involved in a lot. Ayala Fallardo, he's only on 6.4, but he's played a lot of more football than I expected him to. And he's very involved in a lot of things. He scored that winning penalty, didn't he? Caicedo is still on the pitch, by the way. Despite barely functioning and barely being able to run. at the hour mark, and I don't think we've got any check. There's been no subs made. I'm looking at the list of subs here. These would change. There's a lot of subs on there, a lot of young players, because you can name way more subs than usual for the Champions League final, can't you? Wolves on the attack then. 65 minutes on the clock. The missed tackle, Krupi into Profundi off the post. Sesko's got it. Profundi nearly gave Wolves the lead. Wharton, it's gone wide. Doué is now on for Caicedo. That is the sub that I predicted might happen. He's not a defensive midfielder, but he can actually play there, and he has done well there. And it has then. Will that change the dynamic a little bit, or will it help Wolfsburg now that they've got a player that can run in the midfield? We're heading into this. Changes here. Profundi and Krupi both off. Naipan and Angelo on for Wolves. Profundi, the goal scorer, maybe the best player on the park, except maybe for Yamal. You probably say, well, rating-wise, that is the case. Profundi's off. Krupi's off. 2 changes for Wolves. Just the one. Then there's another change here. Comenencia's come on at left back for Ayala Fallardo for Wolfsburg. He can't really play left back as well as he can play right back. But both managers making changes. Wolves on the attack. I say on the attack. Wolves with the ball now. With Faye into Wharton, into Naipan, into... This is lovely football. Gavi's got a bit of space. He needs a runner down this right-hand side. He doesn't really have one, although is that a foul? No. Comenencia's won the ball back. Javi Simons. It's end-to-end like a basketball match. How exciting. Into Javi Simons. He's got runners. He's got players in the middle. Loads of them if you can find one. Into João Neves. Can he take the shot? He can. It's gone in. Gruber's got the goal somehow. There's a flag up. Did it hit him in an offside position? I think it did. Christian Gruber thinks he's given Wolfsburg the lead. This linesman did put his flag up, and I think this one is going to be chalked off for offside. It is. I think this is a João Neves shot that hits Gruber, right? This can't be... This isn't a pass. Yeah, it stood in front of the goalkeeper, and it does hit him in an offside position. It's going to stay 1-1, and we're going to head... We're not. We've got a highlight straight away. I was going to say we're going to head into the last 10 minutes, but no, there's a highlight immediately. Which way will this go? I swear you can't even tell even during the highlights because they keep winning the ball back from each other like that. Naipan, Faye, Martins. I don't know who I want to win this either. I think I'm happy if either win it, which is quite a nice place to be. Naipan, in behind for Wolves. Big tackle from Florian Wirtz. He's a right back. Remember that. Naipan has it back though. Wharton shoots and scores. What a goal that is from Adam Wharton. 12 minutes to play. Wolves have the lead. They're looking like they're going to get revenge. Can they hold on? It's a beauty of a finish from Adam Wharton, as Naipan did most of the hard work. He gets tackled, he gets the ball back. Eventually, he finds Wharton in a bit of space. First time finish, past Atabolu. There's 12 to play. What changes will that bring into play for Wolfsburg? Will they bring on João Pedro, Matthias Tell? Will they do anything? There's 5 to play. Matthias Tell is on. They have made that change. Gruber has gone off. Didn't catch if Wolves have made any changes there. But Wolfsburg have gone through an old and tried and trusted solution in Matthias Tell, as that's... Well, I thought it was given away. It might be gained back again. Wolves have the ball. Wolves, I mean, a goal here for them would be the final nail, you think, wouldn't you? Faye into Wharton. It feels like it's on a knife edge every time either team has the ball, though. A counter could be started. Belieber is on at left back. Angelo, put it wide. Will that be a big miss? It was a big header at the back post from Angelo. He's put it wide. Belieber's on at left back, look, for Martins. We've got any more changes? Sultani Tal up front is still the same here. No more changes for Wolfsburg. And the whistle is about to blow. And Wolves, if they can hold on, which they have won the Champions League for the first time in their history. We have a new Champions League winner in the Spineless Network save. The Spineless Multi-Club universe. Wolverhampton Wanderers are Champions League winners. Wolfsburg finalists again. But it's Wolves with Dennis Simon lifting the trophy that have won the Champions League. That's nice. It's a nice little story. Revenge. Will these two ever meet in a final again? Will we ever get those 4 teams as the last 4 teams in the Champions League semi-finals? That's still the aim, I think. That would be lovely. We'll go again next year. If you want to see us go again next year, you're going to have to leave me some comments and leave likes on the videos. And you're going to have to subscribe to the channel. You're going to have to watch this all the way to the end and prove you've watched it all the way to the end by letting me know that you're a spineless soldier. Is that what we did last time? Say, I'm a spineless soldier, and I'll know that you've watched this right until the end and you're the real OGs. Thank you so much for watching. Final update, by the way. Wolves did, as the aliens invade there, Wolves did win the Premier League in the end by a few points. I'll show you that now. Look, Wolves were Premier League champions by 4 points. Each team won the league again, and Wolves have won the Champions League. we go again next year to see if we can push this even further. And there is a really fun thing happening in that there is a Club World Cup starting. Wolfsburg, though, are the only one of our teams that are actually in the competition. But next video, you'll get an update on whether we can go and become champions of the entire world, which would be quite cool, wouldn't it? Thank you so much for watching, though. Thank you for watching to the end. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you for the next video. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.